Hello, Janksters, and welcome to another edition of the MagicJank podcast. My name's Graham, go by Hamhocks42 on the internet, and here we are every week chatting Magic the Gathering with members of Team MagicJank, such as the one and only Damien F16. How's it going, man?
It's going great. Well, you know, outside of Arena, it's going great. And we'll talk about Arena. My Magic, I'm not super stoked about Magic these days. I'm still playing every day and stuff, trying to, play. But there's a lot going on, especially with what's coming down the pipe. We have a lot to talk about today. So I'm doing good, but, mixed feelings.
I get it. I think a lot of Magic streamers right now are using content as extended therapy sessions, and this podcast will be no exception. I'm looking forward to diving into that. Cool. And the other individual whose feelings we're going to be discussing today when it comes to Magic, Headology's in the house. Hello.
Hello. I'm exhausted, but otherwise, mostly functional. So that seems to be my general right? Status quo these days. Is just I am exhausted no matter when you see me. No matter how much sleep I get, but I'm here.
We're glad you're here.
That's the best we've got.
Yeah. Okay.
We've got a lot of limited to talk about, so I'm glad you're here today. We've
got
many limited topics to cover.
Indeed. So yes, I am out of place as the non-limited player in this group, so I'm very curious to dive into the kind of limited discussion on where we stand right now with the upcoming Spider-Man set. They are going to be introducing. So we're going to be talking about a lot of things today, and a lot of it is going to come down to limited as well as just sort of Arena in general. And I want to get things started with the upcoming new draft format that they're bringing to the table, which I don't believe we've gotten this particular council together since they've announced this. So I'm curious about thoughts. For those not familiar, they're introducing a new format called Pick 2 Draft, which is designed to be a 4-person draft experience where it's designed for Spider-Man specifically, which is a smaller set. And the idea is with each pick, instead of only grabbing one card, you grab 2, exactly what it says in the title, right? And the thought is, given that you only need 4 players to fire, it'll be a little quicker, maybe a little easier to execute. Instead of 7 in queue, it's 3 in queue. Fewer wait times, I guess. But I want to just kind of get impressions and feelings on, do we think this is going to be a fun gameplay experience? And they did also do a midweek Magic, I believe it was last week, that was the Pick 2 draft, but for, I believe it was Edge of Eternities. So a set that was not necessarily designed for Pick 2. Or no, it was Foundations, thank you. Yeah. But yeah, a set not designed for Pick 2. And I'm curious if you guys got to play in that. I did, so I have some thoughts and some feelings. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead. Off? I'm going to relinquish the floor. So yeah, Damien, did you want to? Yeah, by all means.
Well, I mean, we can start with the Foundations thing. So Headology, you also played the Foundations Pick 2 draft that they were testing a week ago.
Actually, I didn't. I played you Pick 2 at MagicCon, and I've also played variants on this prior. But I'll let you start off here. But yeah.
So, I mean, the Foundations experience wasn't great. It was weird. I mean, one of the big problems with this Pick 2, regardless of the set, is it's half the card pool, right? I mean, right off the bat, it's a third of the card pool, I should say, right? You've got 4 players times 3 versus 8 players times 3, so 12. Sorry, not a third, half of the card pool that we'd normally have. So the decks feel weak. It feels like every time you're wheeling stuff, you're picking two, but after about halfway through the pack, you're picking 1 decent card for your deck, and then you're just kind of throwing away another. You're just like, I guess I'll take this. Like, you're never picking 2 cards for your deck every time that are both good for your deck, except early in the pack. So it's really skewed. I found the first pick is so much more important. Like, if you open an insane pack with, and this is where it gets really weird on Arena, where you have duplicates of cards and weird stuff happening in packs in many sets. If you open the right pack with 2 insane first picks, you get to start, it's like you have this massive head start on the draft. So it kind of weights that more heavily. Meanwhile, the smaller card pool meant, when I got into the games, my deck wasn't that amazing. Like, it didn't come together really well. And my opponent's decks, I didn't see I played, I think, 4 games. I didn't see a single person's deck that looked very good. A lot of people were splashing just to make it work because, again, you're playing with this tiny card pool, literally half of what we normally draft with. So it didn't feel great to me, but I kept telling myself, you know what? Spider-Man is designed to be a Pick 2 format. Maybe it'll be better. But I think the regular draft sets do not feel great, but again, I've had very limited experience. It was just that Foundations draft, so that's what I've felt like so far. But what do you think, Headology? Is it have you experienced this differently, or?
So well, let's get into why they're putting this into place. In addition to like having smaller sets, sure, okay, fine. I'm not exactly sure how designing a set for you pick 2 would work. But what happens with this? We've always had variants, like home draft variants, where you don't have 8 people at home, right? You're at college and you got like 4 people together on a like at 1 a.m. You're like in the hall and you're like, hey, let's play some Magic, right? We got some packs, but we don't have 8 people. So there are always variants in which, we actually had one variant of a draft in which the first person, so you lay out the draft. It's a form of like, Winston, Rochester, Winchester. There's all like a ton of different forms of draft. This one was the first person, you'd lay out the pack. The first person would pick 1 card. The next person would pick 2 cards. The next person 2 cards. The next person 2 cards until the end of the pack. And then the next person, the first person to pick on the second pack would be another person, right? As it went through, right? You go back through the other way, right? And so on and so forth. So, and you would do it with a certain number of packs that would make that work out as to each person getting the first pick an equal number of times. So there are variants on this just that were meant to make it such that you didn't need 8 players. And you can do a 4-person draft normally. You can actually do a normal 4-person draft. It's just poor, as you were saying.
Bad. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but the things that make it poor than normal draft are going to be still present in this pick 2, to some degree. The smaller card pool, and it's your decks will end up with the same number of cards, but the problem is you're seeing fewer cards overall because you're not seeing all of the cards that 8 people have opened. You're seeing all of the cards that 4 people have opened. And so what that results in is decks with a lot less synergy. Synergy is like out the window at this point.
Sure.
Now, so, and the problems of play boosters are exacerbated. So when you get to, let's go over the problems with play boosters really quickly as it pertains to this.
Sure.
The problems with play boosters are you can have multiple rares and mythics, and you often do, in fact. So the problem with that, right, having multiple rares and mythics, is not that you don't always, right? So this one person could be opening up 2 bomb rares that work really well together, or that give them good guidance in what the next, 2-color pair that they can just take from then on. They have a direction that they know they want to go in order to incorporate those really powerful cards. Or the next person can get 1 rare, right? And by definition, like already they are slightly mismatched. 1 rare and 1 okay uncommon, sure, fine, right?
Right.
Versus 2 bomb rares. Now, the other problem there with play boosters is that the discrepancy in power level amongst the rares is so great. It's huge. It's enormous. So Absolutely. One person can open give you Edge of Eternity's reference. One person can open a, what's the most useless land there? Probably the one that puts your commander into your hands or something like that, or whatever it is.
Sure,
right?
Yeah.
So there's a literally unplayable card, right? Or 2 in there, right? There's Paradox Haze, or whatever it was, the one that cares about how many times you've played your commander, the blue card, right?
There's a bunch of commander cards that are just unplayable.
That's a special guest. Limited. You should get another rare in addition to that, but still, right? You could open that and somebody else can open a Roboroid, right? Where it's just sort of I win the game if this sticks around at all, right? So, so when somebody can open 2 of those I win the games, and somebody can open 1 of that land, the you pick 2 format exacerbates the issues of play boosters, because in the normal pick, that person who was getting the 2 bombs at least has to pass one.
Right.
Right. And that's
Yeah.
kind of what I was alluding to by saying like the pick one pack one in pick 2 draft, or every pack, the first pick you make in each of the packs is so much more exacerbated, like you said, because you can have these god packs where if you get to take both of the insane rares or both of the super powerful cards, yeah, it really like puts like kind of rails on the draft too. Like you're much more all in because every pick is 2/2/2, and pretty soon, like after the first round, you're just kind of like, okay, I'm basically locked into these 2 colors and stuff. I want to also point out the play booster thing with less commons in the pack. You have a lot less of the synergy cards wheeling, like the cheap like glue cards that hold the archetypes together. And with the pick 2 draft, yeah, like again, it exacerbates like many aspects of the play booster being, problematic. Like you mentioned, the rares, multiple rares and stuff is an issue. Also, the lack or less commons in each pack kind of means it's tougher to get archetypes to come together, especially when the card pool you're drafting from is cut in half. Like when you have 24 packs at an 8-person table, it's still easier to get that to come together, but this exacerbates that even more, having less packs.
Well, with play boosters eliminating a common, I wasn't. It's less about like. You lose a little bit of that. More what happens is there's no signal sent.
Oh, sure.
Sure, yeah. Yep,
so,
that's another problem.
Yeah, how do you read it?
With play boosters in normal draft, there's like next to no signals, because what can happen is you can get past, a pack that looks like it has a really, really strong uncommon, pick 4 or 5, and it's not a signal because there were 4 rares in that pack that people have already taken, right?
Sure.
And not only that, but with 14 cards, you can't expect anything that's any good to wheel.
Oh, sure. Person table, you mean? Or
so that's the problem, is that's not signals that you're sending. So the signals are nearly like, so play boosters already diminished signals. I can't say that there are none. I really can't say that there are none, but it diminished them greatly. And so you're priced into taking the best card as you see them and trying to make, something work. Obviously there are still some signals but there are going to be, to some degree, there aren't going to be as good signals in pick 4 in the pick 2 draft, in the 4-player draft, as there are in a larger draft. And here's sense. Why. Unless you open that color pair that just says, okay, I'm going to be in this, and frankly, you should, if you can, what you want to do is force that color pair. If you have 2 powerful cards, even if they're just like a good rare and a removal spell, right, in your color, right, you're gonna want to force that color, because it's easier to force because the next person is going to see way fewer of those cards each pack, very quickly, much faster than normal. So they will know to get out of that color faster.
But it also leaves you less open to pivoting. And that's what I was alluding to by drafting on rails. It almost puts you right away on this, like, okay, I opened 2 good blue and black cards. Like, I'm all in on blue-black,
Well, the thing is, it's going to reward you for picking up on the signals immediately. So the faster you pick up on signals, the only signals that are going to be there are going to be in the first pack majority of the time. They're going to be the first pack and the early part of it. The mid part of it. The mid part of it. If you don't pick it up in the middle of the first pack, you're going to be at a disadvantage.
Well, the middle is like pick 3 now, though. The middle of the pack
the middle is going to be like around 5 or 6 for this, actually, 7 or 8 for this. 7 or 8 is going to be the middle of this pack, where you can start to really know what your next person is drafting.
Hold up, though. Hold up.
Because they're picking 2 per pick.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
2
so
per pick. So the 7th and 8th card. Right? The 7th and 8th card.
Oh, 7th and 8th card. So the 4th
pick. Okay.
Sorry, I should say. Yeah. Sorry, the
fourth pick.
The pick will be like 3 or 4. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. No, you're good. No, we're all on the same page.
I was unclear. That was on me. So yes. Okay. So the 7th and 8th card should be where you should really know what the person to your right, at the very least, is drafting.
Right.
And so you should stay the hell out of that.
Yeah.
Now, it will be clear. So unfortunately, sometimes you're not going to get a color pair immediately. You're going to get one color and you're going to take the 2 best cards in that color, and you're going to stay open a little bit until the mid part of that pack to figure out what your second color is going to be. There are going to be times that nobody's in one color.
Yeah,
that sounds.
And it's up to you to figure out what that is, because there's only 4 players. With 8 players, it's almost certain that 2 people are going to be in sharing a color at the very least, and there's very rarely going to be one color that's fairly open.
Sure.
Right?
Maybe I hope
2, maybe
you're
3
right.
players might be in a same color in an 8-person draft. With 4, right, there might be a fully open color, at least early on.
I mean, that's
at least early on. It's a much higher probability because there are 5 colors and there are 4 players, and and you know, mostly you're going to have to be in 2, but there's a small chance early on in the draft that there's going to be an open color, and you better find it fast if it's there.
Unless you're in a pod with me, because I'm forcing 5 color good stuff. So that's
well. That's the other thing is if you want to be able to accommodate. If you're worried that a number of other players are in your best color and you still want to hang on to that color, you need to prioritize fixing.
Oh, totally.
You really need to prioritize fixing. Spider-Man does have some fixing. I checked. So that's important to know, at least for this particular draft format. But the thing that's going to suffer most is synergy. You're going to have to play some real stinkers a lot of the time.
Well, and that's... Sorry to interrupt. I think that is the issue where I don't think it's going to play out the way you said, where you can find an open color, because so many people, their decks are not going to be synergistic in 2 colors. A lot of people are just not going to have enough playables in 2 colors, and they're going to be splashing a third. When I did Foundation Draft, like I said, tons of people were splashing, like way more than I normally see. And I think a big reason why is because they were lacking playables at the end. And, you know, so I don't know if there's going to be open colors. Like, I just don't know if that's going to happen, because I think the card pool being smaller is going to force people to branch out more. And especially in a set with fixing, right? I don't think there's going to be an open color every draft. But
from my experience doing You Pick 2, I did foundations in multiple foundations, You Pick 2s in Chicago, was it? No, it was Vegas. It was Vegas. And then I did multiple of those in that. And then foundations, and it was there was definitely a time where green was completely open, and I had to move into it. It was fairly early on, but it was there.
Okay.
Now, yes, sometimes you'll have to splash, and that's the time when like everybody's in all the colors, right? That there will on occasion be a color that is completely open. It's rare, but you have to find it when it happens. It's less rare though than in 8-man.
Yeah, I don't know.
But but the synergies is the problem. The problem is that a lot of the time, one of the things you're going to have to consider is if you are playing within this pod, which often happens in person, you are actually going to hate draft.
Oh yeah. With pick 2, that's what I was saying. You get 1 card for your deck and 1 card for
draft.
I'm hating out,
especially by
whatever.
the end of the pack, and that might mean if you're playing within pod, that's probably potentially why some people were splashing.
That's right.
Or why things were a little bit late. Why there didn't seem to be any cards late in your colors or something like that is they said, well, I could take this jank card that I'm never going to play, or I could take this really good card from this person. So, and because you're in a 4-player draft, like in an 8-player draft, it's generally really bad to hate draft because you don't know whether you're going to play the person ever that you are passing this card to. Except in the final possible round, you might, right?
Right, and you're giving up.
It's not worth your what?
Yeah.
Sorry?
Yeah, like you said, it's not
worth your time to hate draft because you may not play them.
But the pick 2, you're not giving up a pick.
But the pick 2, you are almost certainly going to play the person that you passed this card to, and so you do need to consider hate drafting a lot more in this format. So that's one of the other things you're going to need to evaluate: the strength of the card for you versus the strength of the card for somebody else. And so this is a little bit like team drafting. When you are working with team members, I don't know if anybody's played team draft here, but that rewards hate drafting as well, because you know that your team members at the very least are going to face this card. So you need to evaluate the strength of your card for your deck versus the strength of that card for their deck. And so it's a whole new level of thought process that goes into this that doesn't go into the 8-man as much. So it's really there's a lot to it. What I will say is that I'm all in favor of it because a lot of game stores cannot fire drafts because they don't get the 8th player.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
They don't get the 7th player. They don't get
Yeah.
the 6th player.
Yeah,
They've got
I
like
can get that.
4 players there. And this
But-
allows them to fire it off. And as much
Right.
as I do think that this is not as good as an 8-man draft, it's still better than no draft by a long
agree.
shot.
Fair.
Oh, yeah, I agree with
I'm
that,
really
but-
glad that they're introducing this format and going to support it for local game stores. That is huge.
But
That
on
is
Arena,
enormous. And it's such a good source of revenue and people coming into game stores and buying, not just, obviously the packs that turn over money, but when they're finished, drafting, they sell off their singles to the store and the store gets, ways to do that.
Sure.
They buy food and drink at the store. They hang around for Commander games at the store, buy more food and drink. You get the idea. So I am really all in favor of this as much as I'm critiquing it, obviously. And I do have huge critiques of it compared to 8-man draft. This is not to say that it shouldn't exist. This is just to say, okay, be aware of the differences and
totally.
the slight
Right.
pitfals.
just like best of
And
one,
that's
best of
sort of
three.
it. Sorry, that was
I
a
have
lot.
the discussion. No,
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
absolutely right. For the
No,
local
those are great
game store
points.
and everything you're saying, 100%. I'm always
Mhm.
down. Support your local game store. They need people to go in there and play. If they don't have enough people to draft, pick 2 with 4 players. Sure, it's great. I wish we had known about that ages ago because we've done Winchester and 2-person draft and all kinds of different variants. But let's be clear here. That is a last resort. If the shop has a choice, they would much rather have an 8-person draft fire. If you have no choice, if there's only 4 people, yes, I'm glad this exists. But when we shift to Arena here, and let's bring this back to Spider-Man specifically, Arena is having this new draft format. It's going to split the queues. I don't know if it's going to be ranked. I don't know if it's going to be best of 1 and best of 3. If it's going to be exactly like the normal draft, where best of 1 is ranked, best of 3 isn't. They're going to split the player base. I just don't. I think after the pick 2 draft kind of wears off, the first kind of hype around it dies off, it's going to be a completely dead format on Arena. I don't know about you, but would you rather draft pick 2 with 4 players or an 8-person draft with 1 pack each, or with 1 pick each? I mean, for me, I think I might do a couple of these drafts just to see what they're like, but I can't imagine drafting sets like this going forward. Now, sorry, and before I let you, I know I asked you a question. I'll keep talking,
it's okay.
but I want to know what you think about the Spider-Man thing. But going forward, again, Spider-Man was designed for this. There are 5 color pairs instead of 10 in Spider-Man, right? They didn't build in 10 different color pairs worth of synergy in this format, specifically because they're trying to do it around the pick 2 draft, right? So there's fundamental changes to this that might make it more interesting than your average set. But like when Avatar comes out, I imagine pick 2 is still going to be on Arena, right? Now that it's on there, they're not going to just get rid of it. So I wonder, are people going to keep drafting this? Like after a certain point, I imagine it's just going to be very hard to even fire a 4-person draft. Like, what's the reason you would do it? Time constraints would be, I guess, the only reason you would do a pick 2 draft over a regular draft. Like, let me ask. So, what do you guys think? Do you think you'll be doing more pick 2 than a regular pick 1 draft or not?
I don't think so. Headology, you had a great point about
right?
The hate drafting idea. Sound like when you were describing that, it feels very much like that is going to play significantly differently than an 8-person draft, and that has me kind of intrigued. It's like, ooh, maybe that would be fun. I don't know. Like, it sounds different, and different can be enjoyable. We should try it, right? But it sounds like at the end of the day, the decks are going to be like bumbling messes, like more often than not.
Yeah.
And so, like, if the gameplay itself, even if the draft is kind of interesting and there's some nuance and some skill expression in the card selection, if the actual Magic you're playing after the fact is really awkward and not fun, like, I'm gonna stop. So I'll be surprised if the pick 2 queues. Whatever they look like after Spider-Man, I'd be surprised if they have a lot of traction.
So
I don't know.
The only reason I can think of to play pick 2 on Arena is to get more skilled at it, and to understand how it works. If they do pick 2, I'm still thinking it's probably going to be League and not playing within the context. So the hate drafting won't matter at all.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not going to help you with the skill of hate drafting in person. I actually don't understand why they have this on Arena at all. I'm not gonna lie. The only reason that I think that they would have it on Arena is potentially the time constraints you mentioned. It is a lot faster to draft. Sometimes drafts with people taking the full amount of time if they're disconnected on Arena, or if they're chalking through the choices like a lot of we streamers do. We usually don't go to time, but sometimes we do. And if every pick is going to time, the drafts can take 40 minutes, right? So, well, 25, 30 usually, or 35, depending. It can be up to that if everybody's taking the full time. And so I can understand the you pick 2 being a lot faster to do the actual drafting portion of it. And if you are only having a certain number of matches against a certain number of players as you would in person, it would go faster too. Because again, you're not playing as many matches against different people in theory. However, I actually don't know how they would do the pairings on that. Like at Vegas, it was kind of just like play your first match, see what happens, just because they didn't really, go all the way, right? For that. Now, so again, on Arena, the drafting portion will be faster. So that would be the only thing that I could think of that would be a reason. And maybe they have fewer games for you to play with those decks. But that would be the only reason, is the time constraint. Otherwise, this does not seem to be a good Arena format, because you can almost always fill up the 8-player drafts on queues, unless the format is completely stale at the absolute end. You really don't have to wait at all. So I don't really understand why this is coming to Arena. This doesn't make sense to me. Does make sense as an in-pay, unless people want to practice it. But again, you're not practicing under the same conditions that you would be in the store, because you're playing within the same card pool. You'll know the card pool. It's not a league game.
It's very uncommon.
I don't understand. Apart from obviously a little bit of practice, just seeing what you would pick versus a little bit of time constraints. I don't know whether Spider-Man was necessarily designed as a you pick 2 set overall. I don't know whether that was explicitly said. It was explicitly said that it was designed that way, or did they have this format and they were like, we'll expand Spider-Man from an Assassin's Creed type thing to be
That's what they started with. They did. They
at the end of the
started,
day,
and then they said it's
when it comes to all the Spider-Man stuff, I feel like the asterisk is how much effort, or the question that is hanging over this whole set is like, how much deliberate effort was really put into this thing? Like, I know that they I don't believe the final product is what was originally designed. I think it's safe to say that I think we're all aware of this, and there's no that's kind of,
everybody knows.
Yeah, we all know that when they built this.
But they went on the record and they said, we specifically designed this to be a pick 2 format because we knew we couldn't flesh it out to a full 8-person format. It's 180 cards. 180 cards. 44 of them are Spider-Man. Spider-Man.
Yeah.
44 out of 180 cards. That's like, so they basically had to like narrow it down. Like I said, they specifically said there are not 10 color pairs. There's only 5. That's like the first time I can't remember another set where they've done that. Maybe way back. No, but even Mirrodin and colorless sets, they still, so I don't know. It's going to be super weird, but when they said it was specifically designed for that, you're right, Ham. I don't know what that even means. Like, how much R&D did they really do on it? Who knows? But they did explicitly say
the guilds of Ravnica and Ravnica Allegiance both had 2 sets of 5 color pairs that were really heavily supported. You could play across them, but you couldn't do so it puts it a lot more on the rails for those color pairings.
Well, and the original Ravnica block where they did that, those involved smaller sets, or like the old school block structure. The second and third set of a block were smaller, if I'm remembering.
Were smaller,
weren't they?
Right.
So, but they were still designed for 8-person draft. Like, I don't know why those. Like Dissension and Guild Pack, those could be.
So that's why I'm saying, like, they might have had this you pick 2 thing. They might have shoehorned Spider-Man into that, like that sort of idea. They're like, okay, let's. I don't know. I think this is a chicken or the egg thing where, like, I think they probably are misrepresenting which came first, but that's just like my hypothesis. I mean, wanting to have a good way for stores to have a 4-person draft is not bad. I think they've been wanting to support a smaller draft format for a while, and this is just because, I mean, we've had all this, Winchester, Rochester, Winston, and a bunch of other ones that you can all play, and like a bunch of home variants for fewer people that they just wanted the stores to be able to get in on. And I think it's a very, really nice thing that they're trying to do for the stores. I really, really wish it weren't coming to Arena to some degree, because again, the best case scenario is you get a slightly faster draft and you get a slightly a little bit of practice at you pick two. The worst case scenario is like this. I really wanted to touch on Damien's point. The worst case scenario is it splits the queues and you have longer wait times in both.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's what's going to happen.
And so that, I think the risk of that is much greater than the reward of having it on the than those things that I said were possible benefits. I really think this should be an in-person format only. I think it should be supported. I think it's, it's fantastic for game stores and other people and just people who want to play limited. And I also want to go back to the point though, Ham, you were saying, so we're saying, I think Damien's experience was slightly different from mine in that the decks that are produced, they're not that bad. They actually aren't for me. Like I was not experiencing the same thing that Damien was.
Okay.
They actually are fine to still play. They still lead to good games of Magic. They are still good. I did not experience anybody having any absolute train wreck of a deck, but you can have a train wreck of a deck in an 8-man draft too. So
they happen.
Again, yeah, they happen. And so it's just, I didn't have that experience with any sort of serious frequency there. It wasn't the tuned deck that you can get in an 8-man draft. Right. If you are, doing all the things like reading the signals and making sure that the synergies are working for your deck and so on and so forth. And you have a few bombs, right? Here, you might have a few bombs, but the synergies will be slightly less. And the signals you better read them early. Or you're just going to be in a mess. So the gameplay is still interesting, and obviously the hate drafting mechanic is really adds another layer of complexity in person. So I think overall, obviously the decks are slightly weaker, but they're all slightly weaker in theory, unless that person hit the one color that was completely open. They're all slightly weaker, so it's still an even playing experience in theory.
Right.
Apart from the things that are introduced by the play boosters being, these cards are super powerful. These cards are absolute shite. So,
yeah. I mean, it's like core draft.
You should, it's not that all the gameplay will be bad. I promise. It's just that
I wasn't. Yeah, I wasn't.
That. I think we oversold. With our critique, I didn't mean to suggest that the gameplay is bad. The gameplay is still good. No. The gameplay is, in fact, perhaps better for what I normally enjoy, which are things that are a little bit the inability to have quite as powerful synergies does mean a little bit that the format slows down a little bit sometimes, which is good. I prefer slowing down. I prefer not miss, when missing a land drop isn't the end of the game, right? I prefer when, things like that happen. So
absolutely.
So to some degree, having a slightly less powerful deck in draft is nice these days, just with the power creep and, the ability to do that. But again, the bombs will mitigate that a little bit because it's just like somebody gets two bombs and blah. It'll feel a little bit more variance heavy in that respect, like Sealed does now, with play boosters. But I didn't mean to oversell how bad it was going to be. It was
no.
I'm
glad you brought that up. No, and I'm saying the same thing. I'm not saying it's going to be bad. I'm just saying it's worse than normal draft. That blue-red artifacts deck is not going to come together the way it does in draft. That red-white aggro deck is not going to come together the way, because you will not get multiple copies of your key cards. Full stop. You will not. And that's going to mean rares are more bomby. It's going to make it a more Prince format. Is it going to slow it down? Yes. But it means the way you would beat a lot of bombs was your synergy deck did the synergy thing. And then you can beat a singleton card from them that has no, other synergies. Without that, like you said, all the decks are weaker. Yes, I agree. And all the synergies are not there as they're not as potent because they're diluted. You just don't have the chance to get all the little pieces to fill it out with multiple copies of some of your best cards. You're just not going to have that happen in pick 2 draft. Why? Because the card pool's half the size. That affects the entire experience.
As many cards.
Yeah.
So yes, you're right. It will be slower. Yes, but again, bombs are going to be more bomby. I think because of that, because you're not going to have synergy. It's just going to feel weird drafting these signpost uncommons and then looking at your final list and going, yeah, I only got one of those. I guess nobody opened one of this uncommon or that rare or whatever. It's gonna feel like a lot of your decks are just not getting there. I don't know. Is it still gonna be fun? It's Magic. Magic's fun no matter what. Even Jumpstart. We were talking about booster pack, Jumpstart boosters. You can have fun playing Magic on a really simple level, and that's fine. But I don't know. I want my limited experience to be the full experience for that set. And I just feel like, yeah, pick two draft, you're never going to get that. So should it exist? Yes. Just like best of one Magic should exist for when you're in the bathroom and it's your only time to play Magic and you only have 15 minutes or whatever it is. That should exist. But if you have the choice, should you play best of one? No. Should you play pick two draft? No, absolutely not. Full stop. Like, you're just getting a worse experience. Should it exist? Yes, for the reasons we mentioned. But I think after the first few drafts of this, I'm never going to draft it again. And I think a lot of players are going to be the same way. And maybe there's some players out there who love it. And I think they're going to have a tough time finding people to play against once they finish their draft and you're in the separate queue. Because if they're going to be in separate, they can't put after the pick two drafters draft, they're not going to go in the queue with the 8-person drafters.
Oh my
that would
goodness,
not even be close, right?
No, they
So
have
to have their own
separated those.
queue.
The premier
Yeah.
queue is never going to be combined with that. They've said that they're not going
Right.
to combine the premier or the traditional with the you
Which
pick
makes
two.
sense.
Yeah, that'd be
Absolutely
You might be
no.
waiting.
There's no way. Like,
You might be waiting like 4. That would be brutal. Yeah.
But the main
That
thing is that
outlines
they're
our-
also leagues, so you're not necessarily playing against those people that you're
Right.
you just drafted
But-
with, and that's the key part. Because if you were,
Right.
that would still be a better experience than if you weren't. So.
Right. And I think that, like, but you might be waiting 4 minutes between each game because there's just nobody drafting pick two. Like, I don't think a lot of people are going to draft.
That's
pick
part
two.
of the thing.
Yeah,
But
you
again,
might
I think-
incidentally
I
end
think-
up playing in pod in pick two, just
might-
because nobody else is
In
there.
person.
Yeah.
It's like early access, but at the end of my 24-hour stream, I'm playing against the same dude 3 times
Yep.
each pod because nobody's left to
Nobody else
draft
is there,
against.
yeah.
You know?
They
Absolutely.
tried a
But,
variant of this earlier. I don't know if you remember where they were like, you can pick two. It was like a Supreme draft or something like that, where you could pick two on the first pick only.
Oh, I
I've
don't
heard of that.
remember
I've never played
I
it, but
remember-
I've heard of people doing
What
that.
was it? What
Yeah.
about that casual set? Battle Bond. Was it Battle Bond? Wasn't it something like that? You picked 2, right? Wasn't that?
I think
Commander
Battle Bond,
was
you
some-
picked two. It was a commander-based set
that's-
thing.
I
Yeah.
remember
No, I'm talking
doing it.
about an actual draft where they had like a
Yeah.
superior draft or Supreme. No, Supreme. That's what I think they called it. Supreme draft
never
or something
played it.
where you took two on the first pick only of each pack. I think it was that. So they tried
That's
that out. Again, that was very similar to this, in my opinion, even though like obviously the card pool was still the full card pool. It was still like, did you open 2 bombs? Like,
Yeah,
it's
right.
like,
Right.
and it was it's worse with play boosters now, because back then that wasn't even with play boosters. So
Yeah,
Right.
I feel like
you
that would
open a
work.
really strong uncommon with your crazy rare. So
I
yeah.
feel like that Supreme mode would work maybe better with the well, I don't know. At the end of the day, play boosters are play boosters, but
With play boosters.
it's still
yeah,
yeah,
Supreme
it'd
mode
be
was still
swinging.
ugly in my opinion. I really don't like it.
Okay, fair enough.
But because
So,
again,
we'll
like
see.
somebody's getting 2 rares, bomby rares, and the other person's getting trash. So
Well, and
So
that's
let
what
me ask you, Hedology.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, no, Damien, go ahead. Yeah.
Go ahead, Ham. Go.
Well, no, I was just saying
Well,
that, like, kind of as a to add to that, like, one of the most interesting challenges with play boosters is being presented with 2 bomb rares and having to only pick one. That is one of the like genuine challenges that can be interesting when you open a god pack and you have to let something go. Like, I've seen like insane uncommons showing up at 3, or I've seen rares, like playable solid rares, showing up at pick 3, and it's like,
Oh, yeah.
what are you doing here? And
Yeah.
you know,
Oh yeah.
and that's always fun when people are like, "What did they pack? Like, what did they pick if they passed this? Like, something better." Like, I totally believe
Yeah.
it.
Whenever somebody passes you a piece of power at Vintage Cube, you're like, oh, his luck sack open.
Right.
Lotus and a Mox. Give me a break.
Right.
But what was I going to say?
Yeah.
So
Anyway,
let's
yeah.
take it back to the 8-person draft. Then we talked about the pick 2. We think pick 2 for whatever it's worth. You know, I'm firmly in the camp of I think it's going to be an inferior experience. But what is this set, Spider-Man specifically, going to be like now in the 8-person draft? So we know that it's a tiny set, 180 cards. They said it was designed for 4-player draft, which is, they said, only 5 color pairs. It's a very small set, 5 color pairs. How is this going to draft with 8 people? I don't know. What do you think, Headology? Is this going to be a really, not only
I
is
have-
it like, yeah,
I have no idea. The only reference we have is the smaller sets in the past, where it was a large. So the blocks were large
Right.
set, small set, or large set, small set, large set.
Right.
So the small set in between was often the fact that it was a small set was mitigated by the fact that you put a pack of the big set with it.
yes, right.
So
That's right.
so I'm not actually sure how this is going to work out at all. And the fact that it
Triple
only has
small
5
is-
color
yeah.
pairings, which is news to me, because again, I haven't done my limited first look at Spider-Man. That's terrifying. I hate that. I absolutely hate that.
Why I'm like, wow.
The sets that I tend to love most are the ones where I can cook, where I can actually incorporate a bunch of different colors. And that may be that I have to go like 4 colors in this because there's color pair, or like 3 colors naturally because there's color pair that we just have one meeting adjoining color. Like I like a wedge or a shard. Like we have to do that with this maybe because I hate sets. So okay, sorry. Hate is a strong word. I dislike sets like Bloomborough and like the guilds and allegiance, Ravnica guilds and Ravnica allegiances,
and
guilds and Ravnica allegiances because they put you on the rails, which means for those of you who are unfamiliar with this term, what it means is you are heavily incentivized to stay to pick a color pair and stay within that color pair. Even if you see something go by that's better, right? You are still incentivized. The rest of your cards will be actively weakened if you pick a card outside that color pair. And so you better be darn sure that you're pivoting to something entirely new if you take another card that's outside that, or you better be darn sure that your fixing is really good. But even so, that card isn't meant to synergize with the rest of your deck. And so you are actively weakening your deck by taking another card, unless that card is a bomb. So I really dislike sets like that because it feels like my draft is in part being drafted for me. I like to be making the decisions based on quality, and I like to be mixing it up. I like to be cooking. I love sets where you're the option of going many colors. But I most like sets where any color pair is available to you. And so the fact that this only has 5 color pairs makes me sick. Sorry.
Yeah. No,
I agree. It's exactly like, and like, let's consider the best sets of all time. According to most limited players, when you ask the vast majority of players, what were the all-time greatest draft sets to draft? It's things like Cons, it's things like Duskmourn, it's things like Final Fantasy, because so many things overlap. There's so many overlapping archetypes. The original Innistrad was like this, where people were still discovering ways to combine cards, and it wasn't just this like, oh, draft this. Like, as the format evolved and people got deeper and deeper into it, those are the best formats. Slow formats and formats that allow you to pivot and do all kinds of overlapping things where this card is good in blue-green, but it's also really good in blue-black, or it's good in blue-white, or, whatever it is. You're right. You are in the majority there. I think I'm in the exact same boat. I like drafts where I have agency, sets where I have more agency and I'm not on rails. So you're right. 5 color pairs. It's going to be weird. And I mean, 5 color pairs is what they baked into the set. That doesn't necessarily mean that there's no overlap between them, or that you can't combine them into shards.
Because the black card is going to have to be good. Like a mono black card is going to have to be good in multiple different like shells.
Right.
But that's still the same case with Bloomborough, where you'd have a frog that's blue, it's mono blue, and it could go in the other decks, but it's a frog, and so it get extra props for being a frog if it's in a blue-green deck, right? So, anywhere they do that, if it's still at a rail set, yes, they're gonna have to put things that will go in multiple decks, but they will be stronger in one than another always. Almost always, unless they had some sort of new design epiphany that is really challenging to figure out. But yeah, so I again, so to recap, I'm worried about it, but I'm still hopeful. And now that I know that it's 5 colors, I am less hopeful, but still hopeful.
That's how
I don't want to do the you pick 2 on Arena. I do want to do it in stores. I think that we will probably hopefully do like a once it comes out and we try it out, all 3 of us at least. Mm-hmm. Hopefully we can get another review post trying it out, see what actually happens.
For sure.
So viewers and listeners, this isn't a final thing. This is initial impressions. And we can be absolutely wrong about this. We could end up loving it. Who knows? in terms of like the Spider-Man format. I think the You Pick 2 stuff, I think we all have enough experience.
God, I want to be wrong so bad.
I think we all have enough experience for the You Pick 2 that our insights are going to probably play out on the You Pick 2. I do believe that it is not a very good online format. I think that's going to be the case. But the question of whether the Spider-Man plays well is going to be a slight, we also have a lot of experience in that area. I'm not trying to downplay that, but we could actually, that one could surprise us. So we're going to see what happens there. And none of this to say you shouldn't enjoy these formats. Like we said, I really think that the You Pick 2 is such a boon for stores because, again, even if you start off with, 4 players coming in, if they enjoy those drafts, 4 more players will come in and you get that 8 next time.
Right.
So
no, you're
it'll
right.
build interest in draft, in my opinion. So, and especially, there are some people who go to a store and like, I don't have 4 or 5 hours for a draft. So I want to do the You Pick 2, right? So I think it's a nice bit of variety to offer people and really prop those stores up. So I'm those are just my thoughts on this. And again, our thoughts do not have to be yours. We are not trying to yuck your yum always.
No, but we are trying to give people a good informed opinion on what this is. Because I think a lot of people, like you said, we have a lot of experience drafting and stuff. Some of us more than others. It doesn't matter. We've all been playing this game for a while. If people are new to Magic and they're hearing this and they're going like, wow, what's going on with this? Yeah, like this is an uncertain time. I think this 180 card set, we don't have a lot of experience with stuff like this. We have played with small sets, but never with sets that were designed in the way that Spider-Man was designed. I mean, it wasn't even supposed to be a set. Like so I am trying to be cautiously optimistic, but I have my doubts. I would be absolutely astounded if this was considered even a 7 out of 10 draft format, or an 8 or higher would be. I would be absolutely stunned. But I guess it's possible. Anything is possible. But I'm guessing, just based on all that we know about this set, that even the 8-person draft is going to be not a great draft experience compared to some of the better sets that have come out this year or recently or what have you. So we'll see how it goes. But have you guys looked at the actual cards? Sorry.
I've looked at a handful. I think we will mark this set down as a success if future sets are, if a future dud set is just, if this isn't the measure. If you don't hear people saying, well, at least it's not Spider-Man, I would say this is a win, because I'm definitely expecting that. If for future, like when Avatar comes out, it's like, well, at least it's not Spider-Man.
At least it's not like Spider-Man.
We're gonna hear a lot of that in the future.
Keep in mind, these things are designed a long time ago. So
who knows? I'm not.
So one of the reasons that they tried to expand this to some degree is probably what happened with Assassin's Creed. So
I think that's exactly.
They're like, we can't make that again. Because it was probably designed to be like Assassin's Creed, and they were like, okay, let's just expand this because that didn't work.
And they know that people.
The problem is it does suffer from a lot of the same things that Assassin's Creed suffered from, which is a mechanic that isn't going to be repeated, most likely, web slinging, and and that doesn't have a lot of application. And doesn't seem actually that strong, because returning a tapped creature is a huge cost. But we'll talk about that later when we actually get into it. But the other thing is that when we play this, we're gonna see how this goes.
It'll be interesting.
I don't have huge hopes for it, but just a little bit. We'll see how it actually plays out. A lot of what goes on with this is going to be something that you won't see Wizards learn from for a while, because again, those schedules of they learned lessons from Assassin's Creed, but it was only partially in time for this.
Yeah,
because they couldn't expand it fully because they couldn't get the rights in time to do so the set releases are so fast these days, but again, they're being designed from 4 years ago. So
yeah, we've seen this though. In the last 2 years, there have been at least 2 other examples that I can think of moments when they went, oh crap, that product nobody wanted that, and then pivoted at the last minute. Like the big score bonus sheet in Thunder Junction. that was originally
Explorer.
designed to be
Yeah.
Thunder Junction Aftermath, and March of the Machine Aftermath
Yeah.
was a joke, and it was the
People
at least this
hated.
is an Aftermath kind of set for the remainder of products for a while there. Like that set was awful. Also, fun little piece of trivia for anybody who forgot.
It has great cards. It has great cards,
there are
by
some
the
good
way, for
cards,
EDH players.
but the release
it wasn't
was just
for a limit or anything like that. Yeah,
it's
exactly.
an undraftable, like weird little side. What is this? It just didn't really make sense. And fun little piece of history for those of you who forgot or weren't there. The Pinkerton scandal was because somebody actually leaked Aftermath of all the sets. I find that so funny. That still brings me joy to this day. It's like, oh, that was for Aftermath. Wow. Anyway, we really need to protect that.
It was that.
Right.
It's ironic, but it's like the Assassin's Creed debacle and even Fallout maybe, or these small sets that I guess didn't sell well. And then they went, okay, what if we make it as a kind of addendum set to the main set like we did with Aftermath? No, people hate that. Oh God, what do we do now? Okay, let's make it a full set then.
And Wilds of Eldraine, believe it or not, had that as well. They had a series of rares that were lumped into the Commander product and available in the collector boosters that were standard legal, but were not in the draft playable set. They were lackluster, to the point where right now, if you are a drafter primarily, if you go to Arena, search for Wilds of Eldraine not collected. It's those. They're not draftable and they're not worth crafting. But they were interesting designs, and they had been designed for theme boosters. If you remember, the theme boosters was a product where if you don't remember, they were terrible. They were just bad, and they weren't worth it. To the point where I believe I saw Amazonian doing a video where she opened it, or no, that was Jumpstart. That was another modification of that. They tried making these supplemental booster products that would be alternate play modes, and they just never really worked. And theme boosters were one of them, where it was a 20-card booster that it was a precursor to Jumpstart, if I recall correctly, where they were meant to be shuffled in with another booster, and they could be a playable deck, but it was 20 cards. There was only one rare in it, and the power level was just low, and they were all one color. And so it was just this really weird kind of who is this for product that even if you loved the set, it didn't make sense to buy it in that form if you're a regular player. And so anyway, they had designed those, but after 2 years of theme boosters selling absolutely no units, practically, they decided, we need to bail on these, but they'd already designed the unique rares that were only going to be in those packs to try to force those, which... Yeah, and so they were like, well, we have these, we might as well use them, and so they just kind of lumped them in under the Commander product banner or something goofy. It was so anyway, so they weren't in the draft boosters.
Crazy.
That last minute course corrections in the hopes of salvaging marketability is a thing that Wizards has absolutely done a number of times, and so the theory that Spider-Man being a standard legal set was just them doing that again, I could buy that. Yep, I can absolutely buy it.
Yeah.
It's just the last minute scramble to make something out of this disaster that, and the licensing and stuff is just ridiculous. And stuff. But anyway, so I was asking if you guys have seen the actual Arena set that we're going to be drafting with on Arena. Have you looked at the cards? A lot of them, I know a lot of the players who are Vorthoses, a lot of people who love the lore of Magic and everything are going, what is all this? There's a whole bunch of creature types that are obviously spider people that never existed in Magic's entire 30-year history across all the many, many planes that exist in Magic. We've never had these, but suddenly there's a ton of them, and it's so ham-fisted, and people are just like, what is this? I was looking at a bunch of the cards, I don't know.
There's an spider.
Maybe because they're there's there's a whole bunch of random spider people. There's people who have spiders. There's artifact creatures that have the type spider that aren't even, I don't know, there's a whole bunch of inconsistencies lore wise and stuff that I'm not a big lore guy. I don't really care. But when I look at the cards,
the inconsistency for me, a lot of those, so apart from all of that, some of the artwork for the online stuff is amazing, and I want it in paper, and I'm never gonna have it.
There are a couple, and I would love to pull them up. I would love to pull those up on the video feed, but they're actually, I use the Scryfall database to pull cards for our video feed as well as on my streams. They're not in it. Now they did just drop the whole card gallery,
Goldfish.
So I know they're out and around. And so if
So
I'm
that's the thing is I have never been a fan.
Yeah.
So okay, you know how I feel about alchemy, which is that I hate it.
Agreed.
I mean, you're a magic content creator.
That's the long and the short of it. I freaking hate alchemy.
Yeah, it's terrible.
And in part, that's because, you know, if I'm going to play with a card and I think it's cool, I want to play with it with my friends in person.
Yeah.
Yes.
So many things.
I hate
That's
alchemy.
the tip of the iceberg for
This
alchemy
is
for me.
also another reason to hate it is like I've got a functionally equivalent card that is Spider-Man, but if I get used to playing it on Arena and it's something else magic-wise and it has this gorgeous art and I recognize most cards by art instantly.
Yeah.
And so if I have to shift that to paper and it's a Spider-Man card, it will be jarring and annoying. And if they say I'm playing Spider-Man this, and I'm like, well, what is that? How do I translate that to whatever the card is on Arena so that I can see it in my head and know what it does? So it's memorizing twice the number of cards, essentially, because it's about like the different art. It's not about the like name, right? Because it's functionally equivalent cards. So it's just really annoying. And so I really hate it. I understand why. I understand that rights are really complicated. And I get it, but I also think that Wizards should have avoided this at all costs.
Yeah, I don't get why they did it. I get why they're doing it now that they have no effing choice, but why did they even go down this road to begin with? It's boneheaded beyond belief. I mean, we talked about this when they first announced that this was going to be a different set online than it is in paper, and we all complained like crazy. Me, Ham, and Carlo, I think, were on the episode, or whoever it was. And I was saying all the same things you are. Every content creator's out saying this. Every limited content creator saying the same thing. I've drafted in Japanese, Korean, Chinese. I've drafted in other languages, no problem.
Yes,
because I know the card instantly by looking at that art and the casting cost and whatever. I know what it is. But now,
power
like,
toughness, etc.
Yeah, and I mean, you could even loop like, you know, special stupid treatment cards in there as well, where they are, you know, make it harder to do that kind of stuff. Like you have famously like Reed Duke drafting, you know, what was that green red Planeswalker, and then misplaying in the Pro Tour with Luca because it was the stupid Phyrexian version, and this is
version
a
of it
exactly pro who didn't even know what the card did.
You don't know what the card does.
That drives me absolutely crazy. But forget about that. I mean, this is on a whole other level. Like what you're saying, like you're not gonna. Like, your brain is not going to make those associations. It's going to be so frustrating to go back and forth between drafting at your shop and then drafting on Arena for the rest of the week, and then going to the shop and being like, what am I doing? Yeah, so I don't know. All these things are issues. So we'll see how this all plays out.
That's one bonus to if it sucks as a draft format is you don't have to go back and forth. You can just let it go.
You don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, that's what I do. That's right. I just play other games. I don't play Magic. Speaking of which, so
huge apologies to all of the fans who are going to be watching Arena streams, being like, "Wait, which Spider-Man card is this?" Because I'll tell you right now, if you ask me which Spider-Man card is this, my answer is going to be, I'm not going to be
more
able to often than not. I really hope
somebody
in chat is going to be able to step in on that. Because I got no clue.
Oh God!
And just to touch on yet another thing, a lot of the players are not going to know what the Spider-Man card is. Period.
Yeah.
Because it's so goddamn expensive that they're never going to have those Spider-Man cards in hand, and they're only going to see the Arena cards.
Yep.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. I never thought about this.
I am so sorry to the fans of Spider-Man because this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
In terms of the pricing, this is absolutely stupid. Yeah. And it feels like each time Wizards releases a new IP, it passes on more, if not, so it either passes on more of the rights fees to the consumer, or it just gouges them past all reason. Like there's no or it's just charging beyond anything it had to do. So it's dumb.
You know what it feels like to me? It feels like every time a Universes Beyond set comes out, they just added 300 cards, or in this case, 180 cards to the reserved list. That's what it is. Remember back in the day when they printed the reserved list? I was there. Right. I remember when the Chronicles came out. The problem with the licensing, they only have the license to print for a certain period of time. What that means, every collector, everybody knows, as soon as Final Fantasy print run is over, they're never printing more Final Fantasy because they don't have the license to keep doing it. Just like Spider-Man, just like Avatar. Every collector booster is going to be over $1,000. Every collector booster box is over $1,000, but not for EOE, not for the regular sets, not the IP they own. It's like having a special reserve list for every Universes Beyond set that comes out. You know,
it's not even only paper.
Like, yeah,
it's not even only paper because you don't get Lord of the Rings flashback drafts.
Oh yeah, right. I never thought about
You
that.
don't
'Cause,
get
yeah, at
Final
first I
Fantasy
thought the
flashback
digital.
drafts.
Mm-hmm.
Can they not even run flashback drafts down the road? Is that a thing?
I
I
have
mean, I
not
don't know.
seen. They've never
But
done.
maybe
They've
you're
never done
right.
Lord of the Rings yet, and that's been a while.
Yeah, that's weird. I never thought
So,
about
and
that.
they
But
don't
I know
put it
that
in
in real
Cube.
life.
You don't see those Lord of the Rings cards in Cube. You don't see Final Fantasy
Oh
cards in
yeah,
Cube.
you're right. Yeah, on Arena.
So
Which, I
it's
mean,
really
good
a
point.
particular limited
Yeah.
licensing thing, and that means
Wow,
that
that's
those are
brutal.
reserved lists on Arena as well.
Yeah, I was just thinking paper, but you're absolutely right. Even on Arena, if
So
that's the case, that's brutal.
it's
Like
really
that's
bad.
yeah. Anyway,
It's creating a whole situation. The only good thing about the Spider-Man cards being Magic on Arena is those will be able to be used in
oh well, yeah,
flashback
because they're
they
not
drafts.
do-
Spider-Man.
Yeah, if they do want to reprint the Spider-Man cards, they can
Those
do it.
will not
but
be
they,
reserve
yeah,
list cards.
They do have
Sure.
the universal
Well,
within
those they
versions of all
print.
of them already.
Those will be
but
in
they
cubes.
don't exist in
Those will be
real
in
life.
flashback
Well, yeah,
drafts. You
yeah.
can play with them to your
No.
heart's content, right?
Yeah.
You know,
Unfortunately,
honestly,
it's
when
gonna
I
be shit set with theory, so we'll see. Yeah.
language headology. It's a PG rated podcast.
I'm not sure that's true, but
no,
yeah,
you're absolutely right. No, it's not. But what was I gonna say? The set Final Fantasy. I don't remember. Anyway, yeah, it's gonna be silly. We'll see what happens.
But yeah, so reserve list
very
point
annoying.
taken. But speaking of things that should be put on the back burner, try not to physically flinch.
Oh God. Oh,
So
God.
for those of you listening to the audio version, Headology just threw a card, threw an image in front of her camera of everybody's favorite character from Final Fantasy IX, who is this lovable little black mage and is great in Final Fantasy IX.
Yes.
But in Magic is an absolute
Is it
terror
that
that
time
we
of the
all
week?
hate so much. Vivi Ornithir, yeah. I've actually been playing Final
Is it
Fantasy
that the
IX
time of
again
the week
on.
already?
I've been, yeah, I think it's time for the
trash
Vivi
Vivi
minute.
now?
Yeah, it's time for us to complain
right.
about Vivi for a minute.
All right.
It's become a regular segment on the show. I've actually been playing Final Fantasy IX on my streams, and my stream titles are often "Let's play a game where Vivi's nice." Like that is
Or Vivi, nobody hates.
yeah. Let's play with
Yeah.
the good Vivi for
And the
a
reason
second.
I bring this up is I might have to learn standard a little bit, and I'm terrified of it because one of the reasons that Damien was telling us that he's less enthusiastic about arena these days is that the standard format is freaking stale. It's homogenous. Yeah. It's 50% Vivi is winning these tournaments, or all Vivi is winning these tournaments. So oops, all Vivi. And so let's have Damien talk about that, and then we'll see if we can come up with some solutions.
The first thing to remember here, and I guess I saw this article, you guys might have missed it. It just came out. I was streaming and somebody brought it up in my chat today.
Please.
Wizards just published an article and said on standard and moving the banned and restricted announcement to November 10th. So as you know, the next ban announcement, Wizards last year said they're going to have these specific spots during the year where that's where they will quote unquote emergency ban things, and everybody thought that's weird. Emergency means you got to do it right now, it's an emergency. But they said no, we're going to stick to these dates. The next one is November 24th. So of course Vivi comes out, they ban 7 cards, rotation happens, Final Fantasy is out, Vivi becomes the best deck in standard, like Headology's saying, 50-something%. It's absolutely dominating. The only other time decks tend to do well in these tournaments are decks that are very heavily metagame to beat Vivi, and then they're also preying on the Vivi decks becoming inbred to beat themselves. Like Mono Red winning, the last big Star City event is a direct result of the Vivi decks basically removing all of their cheap removal because they're just trying to position themselves better for the mirror match. That allowed Red to steal the tournament. It doesn't mean Red's actually a good deck in the format. It just means somebody made a great metagame call, went, hey, nobody's playing Torch the Tower anymore. I can just beat their faces in, and they're all playing these 2-mana warp dragons on turn 2 and not affecting the board, and I'm just slapping them. So Wizards sees this, right? They make this announcement. They said, okay, we're going to push it up from November 24th. Now the ban announcement is apparently November 10th. And people said, well, why not now? Why not
still too far away?
Week?
Yeah.
And they said, we don't want to ban something in the middle of the RCQ season, which, as we know, is happening right now. Standard Regional Championship qualifier season is in full swing, and VB is about $800, that deck. It's ridiculous. So they, I get it. They didn't want to ban it in the middle of RCQ season and basically burn, torch hundreds of dollars of players, real paper, Magic collections. So they said we're going to do it, I guess, at the end. But the RCQ season, I believe the first one ends October the 6th. So I thought, oh, why not just ban it after the first one? But that is followed by another standard RCQ season. So they're going to let both the RCQ seasons play out, and then they're going to ban. Now, they didn't say they're going to ban Vivi, but I'll quote you here. Let me find what they specifically said about Vivi. Vivi Ornitier or Ornitier or whatever he's called is a clear outlier. They said they very clearly said they're going to ban Vivi. Vivi is warping the standard format and likely needs to go. That's a direct quote from the article.
Sick.
We're unsure about Agatha's Soul Cauldron. So this is the big thing that everybody said. Are they going to ban the symptom or the disease? You know, it took 18 months for them to ban the One Ring in Modern. Yeah, and everybody goes, they're probably going to ban Cauldron because they don't know what they're doing. Well, it looks like they can't sugarcoat this. Vivi is a card that just came out in a big Universes Beyond set, but they're basically saying it likely needs to go. Quote, we're unsure about Agatha's Soul Cauldron, but we also don't think the format has reached its final form. Yeah, no kidding. I mean, we just had rotation like a month and a half ago. So yes, the format is still wide open. We just need to remove this outlier commander card from the format, and then hopefully Kaito doesn't dominate or what have you. Let's see how it shakes out. So yes, the final form of the standard has not been
not
reached
wide
yet.
open at all. It's all Vivi.
Well, Vivi's
right, we got
pinning
to
it
take
down
that
hard,
out, and then let's see what happens, right?
But if the moment
said they're going to do it,
it is in its final form unless you remove Vivi.
but once
right now,
that's
right.
true. But I think that's the idea is if you we have this clog in the drain right now. If you pop that and it starts flowing again, what's going to happen? And I think Kaito becomes
that will allow for
Yeah, I think Kaito becomes the best deck, but I feel like there's a lot more interplay and a lot more counterplay and a lot more options to tech against Kaito than there is to tech against Vivi. And so
I agree.
Yeah.
I'm okay, that being, if they don't want to take action against the Dimir deck, we'll all have to deal with it, but I think we could. Whereas we're all having to deal with Vivi and nobody can.
And also, in theory, if they're open to shifting their dates for bans, then they can also address if Kaito becomes a huge issue as well.
They could, theoretically.
If Vivi leaving the format means Kaito takes Vivi's place as that level of homogeneity, then you can get the heterogeneity by actually removing again that problem.
Sure.
So, and in theory, if it is easier to meta for Kaito amidst a more diverse format, then it's still healthy. But if Vivi has only one way to sort of go against it, and that's the mono red.
Yeah, the mono red deck is good against it.
Then you're just going to get Vivi and mono red decks, and that's kind of going to be the end.
Well, and to Damien's point, that particular build of mono red, I go up against it with my janky ramp nonsense, and I smoke it often. It's not. It is designed to deal with Vivi. The numbers Razorkin, Needlehead, and the main.
So
what are
if
you
the only
doing?
decks in the format are the winningest deck and the decks designed to take that down, then it's just
it's clearly
then you have a hellish format, in my
Mm-hmm.
opinion.
So we'll see what happens. The good news is they've at least acknowledged that they know Vivi's a huge problem. It's almost clear as day that they're saying they're going to ban it, but you are going to have to wait till November 10th. So we'll see what happens. I imagine the next the rest of this RCQ season and the next one is going to be a lot of the same stuff. It's just going to be Vivi mirrors. I don't think Spider-Man's going to really change too much. I've seen the whole Spider-Man set. I don't think there's anything in there that's suddenly going to break out and be better than Vivi. Nothing's going to draw the format
loose. Okay.
Who knows? We have to wait and see, but we'll see what happens. So we've got at least a month and a half more of just, a pretty warped.
You mean the pigeon isn't going to shake things up?
No, guy in a chair, not good enough, apparently. Is that what he's called? Guy in a chair?
Is that actually?
That's what he's called, right? The green dude. There's a card called dude in a chair. Guy, is it guy in a chair? I can't.
Well, Damien, they did give you an invitational card in this one. I mean,
guy
Mr.
in
Negative,
the chair.
There's that too. Yeah. Anyway, Mr. Negative
that's
is
gold.
a card in
Yes,
the set.
that is gold. That's my totem animal. Yes,
I wanted
Mr.
to
Negative.
do a costume like this where I painted my face, and then I realized that would take years, and I couldn't do it.
Oh yeah, too much work. Yeah, love it. I gotta.
Anyway.
That's huge. I gotta tell people that. But
I own that one.
Anyway, so.
But guy in a chair. Find us guy in a chair.
Guy in a chair. Yeah, we need to see this.
In a chair.
Oh, guy in the chair. Yeah, sure enough.
Feature.
This is mine.
Yeah, guy in the chair.
This is me in the set. Yeah.
Sadly, He's working overtime, but it's not enough to beat Vivi.
I'm the pigeon stealing the hot dog. I mean, I don't even. Yeah.
Actually, City Pigeon does look dope. I love that card. But yeah, but Guy in the Chair. I feel like a lot of people can identify with this one. Actually, my invitational, my card was in the doc. My card was in the Doctor Who set, though. Graham O'Brien, the guy with the sandwich.
Definitely
that's
not flavorful.
His name is Graham.
I get that it works with the comics.
It makes me so happy. Anyway, sorry.
Oh, that is great.
Yeah.
The pigeon, I hate the pigeon's flavor. By the way, I get that it works with the comics and the stories where a pigeon steals, his Peter Parker's lunch, which was a hot dog. I get it, but frankly, a pigeon dying is never going to leave behind food you want to eat.
Oh, absolutely not. Yeah.
Nor it leaving the battlefield is not going to. Ew.
No, the problem.
You're desperate enough.
Just so.
You're desperate enough.
I feel like the proper flavor on the city.
Spectacular. The concept is spectacular for the comics. And that's great, but
the card is good.
As a magic card, when a pigeon leaves the battlefield, create a food token like dead pigeon food. Yum.
I think if they were getting this flavor right,
pigeon gets startled and leaves the battlefield, and what it leaves behind, you're gonna eat.
Yeah, no. I feel like the flavor on this should have been City Pigeon is free to play if you have a food token, and when it leaves the battlefield, sacrifice a food. That's I think
that's
something
better,
like that,
right?
That's
so good.
Yeah, something
like that. Oh my god, you have to design that now. That's such a great one.
It's not good. It's not a good
That's
card.
A terrible card.
Yeah, no. This is a good playable card. That's
so flavorful. I love your design.
Well, thanks.
You need to turn it into a card. You need to take this art and just turn it into the card. Write that down. That's so good.
Yeah, realistic.
My friend designed My friend designed a magic card. It's one of my favorite things ever. We'll see if we can put it up on screen. I'm going to send the link in chat. You talk amongst yourselves. I'm going to find it.
Anyway, we'll see what happens with Standard. I think Spider-Man is not going to have a huge impact. It's a small set. It's very clearly designed for Commander. There's so many legends. There's legends at Common. Why are there legends at Common? That's an oxymoron to me. A common legend?
I didn't realize there were any in this set.
Yes, there's a bunch of legends at Common. It's brutal. That's so, I don't know. It feels dumb to have a legend.
Yeah,
you're erasing what legend means, right? How can you have a common legend? It doesn't even make sense to me.
There have been a couple in the past, but they're rare. They're few and far between.
No, but I mean, having a common that's a legend makes it not legendary by the very fact that it's common. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Should be, it's ridiculous that we have this now. But again, I know why we have all these things, and I've complained about it enough. But so we'll see what happens. I think Standard's going to be interesting. You're looking for a deck. I've got there's a few different decks you can play that are not Vivi, but hey, I mean, Headology was mentioning before the podcast that she might be playing in an event coming up, and I said, if it's a Standard constructed event, I know you don't play a lot of constructed. There are a few decks in Standard that are fun, but let's be real, if it's an event that's happening in the next month and a half, you're going to be playing against a ton of Vivi decks. Ugh. So you just have to play, either join them or play a deck that beats Vivi, and that means mostly.
Or I can just play whatever jank feels good and just lose. That's also okay.
That's
always an option.
A fine option.
That's also okay. I've never been about the,
that is always an option.
Building decks only to take on a meta. That never felt good to me. But yeah. Anyway, speaking of so that design for the pigeon was infinitely better, in my opinion, than the one they came up with. And I think designing your own cards is a really fun way to get better at Magic and understand how it works and just enjoy and make the game your own.
It is a lot of fun,
my friend Charlie, who's wonderful and a genius, designed a Spanish Inquisition card. And I think it is beautifully done.
Okay. So we have
we have a
1/1 for 2, and it morphs for 1 and a white. 1 and a white for 1/1, and it morphs for 1 and a white. When the Spanish Inquisition is turned face up, you may yell, "Nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition." If you do, tap target creature. That creature does not untap during its controller's next untap step. At the beginning of the end step, turn the Spanish Inquisition face down.
And it's a cleric, of course.
I'll come in again.
It's from, and the art is the Monty Python, right?
Fantastic.
Yes, the Spanish Inquisition from Monty Python, right? Yeah. Amongst our weapons are such elements as fear, surprise. I'll come in again.
Yeah, it's cool.
I love
and it's so perfect.
Yeah, the face down,
Yeah.
the morph that's face down that reveals itself is just nailed it. Yep.
I mean, these are the kind of cards we used to design all the time, right? Back in the day, back before Universes Beyond and all this other stuff. Like people were making this kind of silly stuff, political figures and famous people and athletes and musicians
absolutely.
and whatever. We were making fun. And I think honestly, somebody at Wizards or multiple people went, why don't we just start doing these kind of jokey cards? And like slowly, like I feel like the unhinged sets slowly became real sets. Like now when I play Wilds of Eldraine and there's Candy Grapple and there's Cream Puff and like all these wacky things that I feel, and just puns, so much puns.
Well, and
Modern Horizons 3 was like all puns.
To
and I'm like,
some degree,
so
they overdid a little bit of the humor and jokes in the sets that were supposed to be serious for some people,
That's
right?
what I mean.
Yes.
Yeah, like they were, yeah. So,
but this
know,
was just a genius design in terms of reflecting what it actually was.
Yeah.
Sure. Spanish Inquisition. Yeah, this is a good one. So many of the ones people have made are just hilarious. Super on point.
This community,
and I think that
incredibly
pigeon
creative.
was a better design given what the comics actually reflected than the card that they actually printed. I like Ham's pigeon better. I think it's far more reflective of actual things. And I think that a lot of the time the design process is so rushed these days with the sets coming out so quickly that I think that it's actually some of the thought that I think that they could put into it is not there. I think that Ham's is so much better. Like it's still a good card. It still does what you want it to do, right?
Well, I mean, it captures the essence. At the end of the day, it
captures the comic so much better, and it makes sense in Magic so much more because this card leaving the battlefield shouldn't give you a food token.
No,
that's weird.
But mechanically, this works with web slinging. The thing I put together wouldn't, and so
that's true.
To make this a playable card.
I see what you're saying, but couldn't you make it work with web slinging?
I mean, potentially. Well, I mean.
Version?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
If you thought a little bit more about it.
I don't know, but like the idea of because that was literally just a thought vomit that came out of nowhere. I mean, the version of Vision design that was originally scripted for City Pigeon might have been something like that. And after it went through the design process and after they identified the draft archetypes and everything, this is what they came. This is how they tweaked it to make it fit. Yeah. And this works within a game of Magic very well. This is actually like. Of all the cards we've seen so far, okay, I am a Commander Birds player, just yes, okay, but I'll own that. A 1/1 flyer bird for one. I'm listening. Like, what's the upside on this one? But this isn't better than Healer's Hawk or any of that jazz. But like, given that nowadays everything bounces, like the white archetype with pixies and things has just become the trampoline deck, another thing with the leaves the battlefield trigger, sure, why not? But I think this card is going to be very playable and very solid. If the moment you have a card with affinity for food, it's like, okay, well, what other food support do you have around it? And in this set, the answer is none. So that would have to be for. So if in Eldraine, if they wanted to have, if they do a big food thing and they wanted to have a pigeon themed or some kind of scavenger bird in it, neat. Like I think something like that would absolutely work. But in the environment, So
I don't know. You got to make these compromises for flavor, but there's so many cards that just feel like
flavor. The compromises are true, but
it is an interesting thought exercise of looking at this.
What
and
is the flavor of web slinging? Why return a creature? Like, what does that make?
Because they didn't
story wise.
Spider-Man is not a ninja. That is the only explanation I can come up with. We wanted to add ninjutsu, but he's not a ninja. So I guess we have a new ninjutsu kind of.
I don't get it. Like it just doesn't make sense to me as far as that.
Yeah, because with web slinging, you have to remove. So the flavor of ninjutsu is that a creature is attacking in, but it was this other thing in disguise, right? Like it wasn't that to begin with because the other ninja sneaks in. Or at least that's kind of how I always interpreted it.
Oof. Smoke bomb.
Smoke bomb.
Like, bang. Whoa, look, I'm here. It's like,
Like, I can appreciate the idea that, like, it was in the shadows the whole time. Whereas with web slinging, you're removing a tapped creature. So, like, I get the idea of webs being the mode of transportation for the Spider-Man. I get that.
Maybe he's pulling something out of danger and entering the fray. I don't freaking know. It's
that's
weird.
That's the best read I can think of, but it's not super clear.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like
because
if the
tapped creature isn't necessarily in danger, it's a thing putting pressure on the board. Like I don't like. It's weird.
Well, but survivors are tapped in the post combat because they survived combat and
because they survived combat.
Like, so maybe they're trying to go with something like that. It makes as much sense as anything.
But why would you rescue a survivor? Like that's if you're web slinging, like if you're webbing them up and pulling them. I feel like a lot of sometimes flavor has to be sacrificed to mechanics. I get that, but this feels like they didn't even. I feel like there's some way you could do this better. In other words, like I feel like there's Spider-Man is kind of rich as a field for mechanics. Like there's a lot of things you could do with it. As far as web slinging could be anything if you think about it. Like it could be a lot of things. And I really feel like if it gave a creature flying briefly, like that's fine. Like if it did something with like flying or other stuff, but that's just me designing, and I don't design. I'm not a designer, so I know there are way more complex things to consider in all of that. But I just feel like this was kind of a miss flavor wise.
I had an idea. What if the webs give those heroes enhanced mobility? They're able to move around environments very easily and very effortlessly.
They're able to fly essentially,
effectively. So I can appreciate like translating that as flying. Okay, great, that fits. And spiders traditionally have
or
reach,
any other sort of evasive tactic.
Evasive is fine, but like, how do we make it unique and special?
Yeah.
Well, what is the battlefield? How would one move around the battlefield well? What if? And there's probably some rules implication that, and please, rules lawyers, sound off in the comments as to why this won't work. But is there anything stopping Spider-Man from being able to attack other creatures directly rather than attacking a player, like Hearthstone style? Is that a crazy idea? Probably, but enhanced mobility on a Magic battlefield, what does that look like?
Well, actually, that could, like, he could attack planeswalkers as though there was nothing blocking him, for example.
He's
he could do damage to
planeswalkers
as though nothing blocking him or something.
Sure.
It would be interesting. But yeah, I think they missed an opportunity to make web slinging more interesting as a mechanic. Like, totally. I don't think this is very interesting to me. Bouncing something is always it's been done. Like, ninjutsu has done it. Like, that's
of course.
Like, so it just feels like an altered version of that isn't flavorful. So I'm just like,
I a lot of things that don't make a lot of sense.
I would have loved this.
Look at a card like News.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I was thinking it would be a great
opportunity or a card
News
like
helicopter.
That.
Okay.
Yeah. Like cards like that make no sense to me. Like it's like this should be a vehicle, but it's not. It's just it's like a crude vehicle. It's so weird. Like from a flavor perspective, some of the ways these cards are set up is so weird. Is the helicopter sentient? Is it a robot? No, it's a vehicle. Why isn't it crude? Why is the helicopter's a creature? And it also makes a 1/1 creature when it enters. So I assume that's the pilot. But again,
that's just like that's a helicopter with a pilot. It comes with a pilot. That's that we've seen before, like various things that just poop out a token in limited, right?
Well, yes.
No, but it's not a pilot. It's a construct. It's an artifact creature. There's no human anything. It doesn't need the pilot to crew it. That's what I'm saying. Normally Yeah, I look at this and it just like I'm like, this looks so ham-fisted as a Magic card. It doesn't even make sense.
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying? It's an artifact creature. Sorry, Ham.
Sorry, it's small, so I can't read it. But yeah, I gotcha.
Magic Rules has a language to describe what is happening here, and they're not using the language to describe the thing that's happening.
Yeah, thank you. That's how I'm trying. That's a good way to put it. That's what I mean.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Like this is the flavor stuff that I think is so dumb. It seems so ham-fisted and it's like what you had to like. Why did you do it like this? Like the bird, the pigeon thing. Like it's the same idea. Like they could have done these things differently, but it just seems like
It would have been easy to do it, in a way that actually went with both the flavor and the Magic context. Yeah. But it just feels. Anyway. And I know the design team works very hard. I'm not trying to poop on the design team. I just think that oftentimes Wizards isn't giving them the full length of time that they need to really do their best work.
Sure.
Probably not. I wouldn't be surprised.
I have complete faith that all of these criticisms that we're leveraging and levying, I don't know, that we're leveling, putting out here, Leveling. That's the word I'm looking for. I have no doubt all of these criticisms have been discussed and considered within WotC at some point in the process. Those folks are brilliant. They get it. It's just,
I
think compromises are being made, and some of them are
under.
getting. Yeah, some of them are getting silly.
Yeah, it's like Headology said, maybe it's a time constraint. I also think it's an IP constraint. I mean, as an artist, you want to just make what inspires you, but it's tough when the people above you go, no, you have to make cards for this set, and you're like, how are we gonna make cards for Spider-Man? Like, oh my god, we got to reach out and do a series Spider-Man India, Spider-Man UK, like all these versions of Spider-Man and things like.
We have to go research Spider-Man. We have to incorporate as much as possible.
Like my brother makes video games for a living. And he used to work for EA. He worked for Microsoft, and he said Microsoft was rough because he was always on these games like sports games and stuff that he had no interest in. But as an animator, like that's what your project is. This is what you were assigned. You got to do it. So like I bet you they're capable of doing much more, great stuff and design-wise, lore-wise, doing better work. But again, you're like constrained by what this IP is. Like. I don't know. And I mean, I imagine it all goes through Disney as well. They all have to approve this stuff, right? Sure. I imagine all the cards, once they were finalized, probably went to Disney to approve and everything. So you never know if they're putting their fingers in it as well. But anyway, we've shat on this set enough. It's going to be a fascinating experience. I mean, I feel like there's nothing. We just keep going.
Like just to see what they do. I'm really excited for the limited first look, and like I'm also excited to just put some random stuffs in Commander. So it should be fun.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I'm the grumpy old man yelling at clouds.
This one feels rushed. At the very least, it feels rushed.
Yes.
It feels, not very well thought out, especially with the digital aspect. I looked at all the digital cards. I was looking through them, and maybe because they're digital-only designs, so the pictures online don't look like real Magic cards. Like, they look like the digital ones. It just feels like the whole set was like, if somebody typed in, make a spider set, ChatGPT, and that's what it spit out. Like, it's like the ChatGPT set or something. It's so weird. The names, the some of the flavor text and some of the other stuff, and I'm just like,
interesting.
I don't
so they basically
know,
had to design two sets in one, and it's just like, I don't think either was perhaps done as well as the design team would have liked. I know, sure. I feel like, it's probable that the design team would have loved. I think any design team always wants more time,
of course,
and I think that right now with this level, this pace, I think that there is no chance that the design team is getting enough to shine in the way that even they used to, right? The normal time,
I grabbed one of them, one of the cards for the folks on the video feed. It was one at random, Darval, whose web protects, and if you're curious what Spider-Man card that is, no idea. It's a common that had some okay artwork, and it shows one of these Drider like spider dudes who, like, what plane is that on and where are they?
Yeah, it looks almost like AFR,
right.
We've never had spider humans before. Like, they just don't exist in the Magic world. So I don't know what.
We've had Lolth, right?
Yeah,
I mean, she's not a human
planeswalker, but we never had this type spider human creature type. I don't think we've ever had.
No spider humans.
Adventures in the Forgotten Realms was all in the Forgotten Realms. That's a completely different universe.
Kind of
Lolth was not.
Lolth
is not.
You're
in
right.
Magic
It was
canon.
like.
Yeah. No, I just meant in
like
Magic
Universes
itself.
Beyond set.
In Magic itself, we had the AFR set, so we did have like these spider elves things, but we didn't have spider humans. You were correct as far as like type line.
Drider. Yeah,
it was
Drider type. I remember.
Drider was a thing, but it wasn't in the Magic canon. Yeah, and so this was never. There was no Omenpath. There is no Omenpath that can connect you to the plane where this dude is. Okay. So,
but that was another fallen, or AFR guy. Yeah, AFR is almost like Universes Beyond set. It's not even part of Magic canon, right?
100%.
Yeah. That's funny.
They didn't have the Universes Beyond name when it came out, but it absolutely was. Yep.
Right.
Yeah. Now, it was also an IP that Wizards owns, so that's its own. That made it a lot easier.
Right.
But yeah.
Baldur's Gate and AFR were both. I mean, the thing is, they're also still high fantasy, so they still work within the Magic setting. So people still accept them as part of canon, really.
Yeah, it's easy to forget that they're outside of the lore, but they are. Yeah. Unlike the Spider-Man set, which is very obvious that it's outside of the lore.
Yes.
Although I gotta say, so I pulled up the land Suburban Sanctuary, which is, to be fair, a total fantasy card because it does depict home ownership. So, that's a thing.
Home ownership, exactly. I was about to say that. I was like, I was like, well, at least that card is really pretty and illustrating something I'll never own.
It is a fantasy that we won't obtain. Exactly. Yeah. I will not ride on a dragon and I will not own a home. So here we are. Anyway, but yes, it's just a house. Like the picture is just a house. And it's a 3-story house at that. Like it's a very nice house, but with a turret. It's got a turret. But anyway,
it's got a freaking turret.
Style. It's Victorian era. Yeah, very nice.
And a nice yard and like
that's a $5 million house in Vancouver.
For sure. Yeah. Oh, and this is ostensibly in New York. Like
that's good. Oh god.
Like can you imagine like this in Manhattan? That's a $20 million home easy. Like that's anyway, or whatever. I don't know. The moment you start talking those kind of property values, we're talking like that's fictional money. That could be $10 gazillion, whatever. It's like, sure.
Yes.
Anyway.
It's fantasy.
It's fantasy.
It's a good
so that's a fantasy card.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
All right.
But that's an example of one of the fixers that I was talking about that might make this drafting this a little bit more.
It's a Silesia Tapland at Uncommon, I believe. So like, all right, cool. Like, those exist. Neat.
There's some dual lands and stuff. Hopefully it works out. I think we're going to be splashing a lot in this set, but was there anything else you guys wanted to talk about with Spider-Man specifically, or I'm not sure what other topics
we're a little bit all over the place. Today, we had been talking a little bit about standard and VV and all that jazz. So I don't know. Are there any other thoughts? But we haven't also been going plenty long. So
no, that's all I wanted to touch on for today. So thank you for talking about these things with me.
This is great. Oh my goodness.
That's all, folks. Like circle comes in.
Fun fact, actually. Okay, you just triggered a random trivia moment. The film Who Framed Roger Rabbit, it would never happen today because it features both like Warner Brothers and Disney characters in animation together. There was one of the consolation or one of the negotiations that occurred was the end of that movie. Porky Pig has the last line doing the "It's all folks" and then disappearing, but then Tinkerbell swoops in and taps the screen. So a Warner Brothers character got the final line, but a Disney character was the last one visible. Image that you see.
Thank
you. But anyway,
the
best line entirely from that movie is "I'm not bad, I'm just drawn that way."
That is great. That movie's great, by the way.
My favorite line is
that movie's fantastic. It holds up.
Dude, Christopher Lloyd as the bad guy was so good. The line I
saw that movie way too young the first time.
Yes, it terrified me.
I was traumatized.
When I killed your brother, my voice was just
the tiny voice and the eyes going. Oh Jesus!
Yeah,
I was like, I'm seen. I'm never sleeping again. It's fine.
Oh yeah, no, I think all of us had one sleepless week after seeing that the first time. Holy cow! Well, and the shoe. Like as a kid, I didn't really appreciate just how gruesome that shoe scene. But
the shoe where he puts it. Oh my god, that was so miserable.
Innocent sentient creature spending like 2 minutes being killed on screen. It was like, what are we doing?
Oh my god, I know. Boiled alive. Like what? Like as acidified. I think it was like oh god.
It was paint thinner. It was slowly being
parents out there. Show it to your kids. It's a classic. It'll toughen them up.
We saw it when we
with older kids.
Just because exactly parents with kids just because you saw that at 8 years old does not mean that's appropriate.
Does not mean you need to share the trauma. Not everything has to be as bad for them as it was for you.
If you're getting parenting advice from the MagicJank podcast, you're already a lost cause. Just forget it. Just show them Roger Rabbit. All right. I have one more question of the week if you guys want to.
Ooh, please.
I don't know. This is a weird one, but okay. If you had to cosplay as any character in the Magic the Gathering multiverse, you were going to a con or whatever, which character would you want to cosplay as? Because maybe it matches you the best, or you just want to do that. You want to make imagine you had limitless resources. You could have somebody, make a outfit for you. It's not like you're making it yourself, but you have to choose the character that you're going to cosplay as for this big con, the next Magic Con, let's say. Who would you choose, Ham?
I had one that I considered for a while, actually. I ended up not going. I didn't do it, but I seriously thought about it. I was very, very seriously considering my very first cosplay being Bruce Tarl Borish Herder. As an
what?
Yeah, yes. I was genuinely looking at this. So Bruce Tarl, if you're not familiar, he's one of the commander partners, and he's just a shirtless dude who's just like, with the most bitchin' mustache you've ever seen. Like, picture a Russian strongman. There you go, you got him. Like it's
Oh my god, that's so
But
funny.
the
That
reason
would be
that I
hilarious.
seriously
That's an easy low budget. That's a low budget cosplay. That's fantastic. Just
not
walk
really
around
though.
blasting your nips
Not
and
really
that's it.
when you consider
No?
how many hours at the gym I would need to
Oh,
do
yeah.
in order to
No,
look
you
like
just
this.
wear a muscle suit. Like,
No,
Wear a
no.
muscle suit. Easy.
No, but that's the whole thing. That's why this is a brilliant
And
cosplay
commit.
because it's also
Yeah.
fitness goals. It's
There you go. Your
yeah.
method. You're a method
Exactly.
cosplayer. That's right. You're
It's-
actually gonna do it.
totally. Well, I'm
there
over
is
here.
no way on earth that any amount of exercise, natural exercise, is going to give you that body. That is a very specific structural type of body. That is a barrel chest.
He's
so
got
to
a
speak.
barrel. That's right. He's very barrel.
And in
is
fact,
true.
the rest of the body is also barrel.
That's true.
So this is
It's,
a burly
we
freaking man, and
we can
you
only
are
see the
not.
top torso. We don't know about the rest of that. Anyway,
He's boorish.
burly
You're not
frickin'
boorish
man.
enough, man. You need to be more boorish.
but that's the
okay?
thing. I do have a pretty thick structure. Like I think if I put the muscle on, I could get close. Yeah, for how
love
relatively small I am. I'm not like this dude is probably
Hey,
in the image. There's an ox
nothing-
behind him that it looks barely bigger than him. So like I'm sure he's gigantic.
Yeah.
And I'm a whopping 5'8" with heels on. So like I know that I'm not gonna embody it
It's
exactly.
nothing-
But I gotta say my chest hair on point. So we got that down.
There you go. And a little human growth hormone, a little steroids.
Yeah,
nothing
exactly.
you can't fix.
Just
You'll
a
be
few
fine. You'll
cycles.
You'll
it'll
be a
fine.
massive.
Yeah,
barrel
no, we got
chested
this.
dude. Yeah,
Absolutely.
there you go.
Yeah.
Okay, Headology, your turn. Who will you cosplay as? You have one choice. You have one shot. This is your only chance to cosplay ever in your life, and it has to be magic. Who are you going as?
It's not really a who, it's more of a what.
Yes.
Oh,
the best.
even better.
Okay.
Mimeoplasm or something like crazy. Like, no.
I want to be the 15 squirrels in a trench coat that take out Emrakul.
Oh, God, that's great.
That would be
Okay.
fantastic.
I don't know how you're cosplaying that, but
Exactly.
where
That's
your
the
head's
thing.
at.
That's why I would never actually do this cosplay, is because that would be.
how do
No.
you even fit?
Oh, you know what
I
it
don't even know how that.
It would have to be. You'd have to be Emrakul covered in squirrels. I think is how you'd have to do that to make it clear what's
You
going
might
on.
try that. Yeah, you might take that as a
That's
base,
pretty
but I
good.
really want the trench coat aspect of it. So I'd probably just have
Sure.
like squirrels sticking out all over it and then do like hide my face basically
yeah,
in like
and
a
just have
black
squirrels.
mask, right? That's I can still
Yeah.
see through and have like a hat, like a a fedora,
Yeah, one of the-
and then
yeah.
like just have like squirrels wrapped around my face and like
But you-
around the
you
edges
realize-
and stuff
Wow.
like that.
If you really wanted to commit to that bit or an opportunity that if you were to do
Yeah.
that, you could have a whole bunch of like little like tiny squirrel like keychains or plushies that you could throw at people. I'm sure that would be appreciated.
Yes, that would also
Yeah.
work. Yes.
That would be great. Squirrel
Yeah.
Yes,
cannon.
but
free
basically the
free
key
play.
part of that where the Emrakul would work in if I didn't do like the squirrels on the Emrakul thing, where if I went with my trench coat thing, it would be I would just put a wanted Emrakul poster on my back.
There it is.
Nice.
Yeah,
Like,
or you
that
could be
would be,
walking.
Wow.
You could be walking around with like
I-
a wanted poster with Emrakul on it, being like asking.
Yeah,
people,
like
"Have
challenge
seen-"
you. Like
I'm not sure what I
Oh.
expected when I asked that question, but I gotta admit, you guys absolutely floored me. I did not expect Bruce
well,
Tarl
you need to
Boris
answer your own
Herder,
question now.
and 15 squirrels in a trench coat. That is,
Yeah.
Oh, me? Oh, God, I have nothing like that. I was just gonna say Karn or something. I don't know, some
Okay,
big like.
but here's the
blocky-
problem. Okay,
Karn
here's
is
the-
I don't
good
know.
though, but which Karn?
Karn's great, but the problem
that's a
is
good
you can't
question.
wear pants. The good Karns don't have pants.
Oh.
You know.
Well, I imagine the whole
Loincloth
thing would just be
time.
some. The whole thing would just be like a giant cardboard. Yeah, he kind of just.
Yeah.
Right.
Well-
Doesn't really wear clothes. I don't even know why I said. Like, I'm just trying to think of. I don't know. Something funny? Is it something like the squirrels thing is funny? I was thinking like, what character do you identify? Like Ham, you did the one like you identify with him, or you? I don't know. Why did you?
I don't
choose Bruce
necessarily.
Tarl?
Literally, okay. So I'm a
don't
big
even
fan
know. I don't know
of
what I would go
having. If you have two problems, finding ways to have them solve themselves. And I would like to get in better shape, and I would like to be more like.
Oh,
you
that's
know,
why that makes sense.
And so I was like, oh,
right,
okay,
right.
cool. So I can use an upcoming convention as a workout goal to like be hitting the gym constantly to try to look like
Pretty
Bruce
good.
Tarl. I thought that was the main practical reason. Also, I'm just crazy jealous of that mustache because yeah.
You'd have
there's
to
that.
shave your head too.
Yeah,
I
dad
would.
stash.
I've done. I was on the swim team in high school. I know my scalp does not have any divots. I have shaved it before. I can do it again. So yeah,
I'm scared to shave my head. I could have a huge divot back there. I'm not
it's
even aware
possible.
of. I don't know.
As I've been in
Dropped
rooms
on
with
my
tons
head
of
as a
shaved
baby.
heads. I've seen people discover their divots. It's awkward. Yeah.
For the first
Sounds
time.
like golfing. You're
Let's
like,
go
I
ahead and take
discovered a divot, but
Yeah.
What is this? What? No, it can't be. Oh, what? My
Yeah,
skull
exactly.
is misshapen.
it really does
Also-
suck to discover that you don't have the head for like a shaved head after the fact.
Yeah, it's like, ooh, a little late on this. Okay, yeah. I do
Yeah,
like
head shape's not something.
the only thing about my head shave when I do that is people realize just how little of this is hair. This is all meat up here. Like my head is gigantic, and when there's no
got a
hair, you
big old
really
brain.
see it. Oh, exactly, for greater computing power, as
That's
my
right.
dad would
That's a
say, the
good
guy
thing.
from whom I
Yeah.
got the big head. Yeah, it's anyway.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway,
That's funny. I don't know. Yeah, I some Karn or some lame thing, but
That's all good.
yeah, people do such crazy things. I never go to I don't go to cons like you guys do. You guys see all kinds of great cosplays and stuff, but yeah, I've never thought about it until somebody mentioned it, and I was like, oh, I never thought about that. That's a great question. I want to ask these guys
Yeah.
and whoever's on the podcast, see
It's
what
a
they
fun
say.
one.
But yeah,
That was a
I
good
don't
one.
know. Anyway,
You
Yeah.
could be the Leviathan that tackles Nicol Bolas, and then they both like go
Leviathan
into
tackle?
non-existence
I
for a
don't know.
while.
you mean
like
not
Leviathan,
Ugin.
Leviathan.
Who
Yeah.
Leviathan, yeah.
Oh,
that guy beat? What? He had a thing with Nicol
When
Bolas?
Nicol Bolas fought that created like a time bullshit thing or
Really?
gate thing. Yeah.
that's
Oh,
news.
According to
wow. I
Spice
had
8
no
Rack, yeah,
idea.
who read the lore.
Oh my
I need-
god!
I
Watch,
need to go back
watch
and read
Spice
that.
8 Racks. Everybody, do yourself a favor and watch Spice 8 Racks Magic Story in 80 minutes or whatever it is. You absolutely have to see that. It is the most hilarious thing ever and also wonderful and just,
It is great. And when you're
Wonderful.
done with that, go back to his Magic Story in 45 minutes, which he made like 5 years before, and he will tell you it's bad. It's still great. Like anyway.
yeah.
Yes.
That's funny.
Anyway. Also, his like
Cool.
hour and a half video about like picking a Magic the Gathering best friend. God, it's so funny. Anyway, he's great. Just Spice 8 Rack's the best.
Yeah.
Anyway,
They're great.
I've heard
They're
of them,
great.
they are great.
Cool.
Thank you.
Spice 8 is great.
They're the best. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Huh.
Cool.
I'll check him out.
Yeah.
Anything else before we say
I don't think
toodles?
so. I think I should probably like try to be the host or something and bring this in for a landing, huh? I guess that's my
All
job
right.
here. All right. Well, yeah. Oh my goodness. You two are the best. Thank you so much for jumping in here. This was a fun deep dive into Spider Draft. Yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's
The
gonna be interesting.
Spider-Verse.
And I'm very much looking forward to getting this crew back together after we've had a chance to play with it a little bit and see.
Yeah, let's see how
I'm
this holds up.
so hoping that we
Sure we'll
just
have lots
chow
to
down on
say.
some crow and like it's actually a great experience. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
I hope it's better than we think. That's all I'm hoping for. I really, really think the chances of us being wrong on all of these things
Yeah,
is
I feel like these are
very,
pretty-
very small.
pretty safe
However,
bets, yeah.
I do think that it can be much better than we think it's going to be, and that is what I'm hoping for.
Oh, when expectations are super low, they can
Here's
get
to
cleared.
hoping.
Yep, absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's nice.
Yeah.
All right,
Keep that bar
bar
low,
is on
everybody.
the floor.
keep it super low.
Yeah, keep it nice and low. Never disappointed.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go. All right. Well, thanks so much for tuning in, everybody.
well-
We appreciate you. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're freaking fantastic, and we'll catch you on the next one. Take it easy, everybody. Later.
Cheers.
Bye bye.